welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing 4 lessons that I learned from my ankle surgery that can help you as a mom and as a homeschooler. And so if you enjoy this type of content, please remember to subscribe and let's get into it. All right, so as I was reflecting on my ankle surgery that happened almost 6 months ago, which is kind of crazy, I was considering about all the things that I've learned from it. Some of these things I wrote down a few months after surgery, and then I really went through them over the last few weeks and like, what did I learn from ankle surgery? And just some reflections and things like that. And as I thought about it, I was like, oh, this is really good things just for us to know in general as moms, as homeschoolers, as a human being. These can help in all aspects of our life. Some things that we just don't see until we take a step back. Sometimes we're forced to take a step back because we have an injury or an illness or something that might make us be on the couch for a long time. We have a lot to think about and we can't do a whole lot. And so sometimes we're forced to do it, and sometimes we intentionally take a step back and kind of evaluate our lives. And so hopefully you can be intentional about it and that it's not coming because of an illness or injury or something like that. And step back and look at your life and just kind of see where maybe you can make some improvements, maybe where some things need to change. And hopefully this will help you. It was insightful for me, and I feel like some of the things I'm already have kind of forgotten or I'm not very good at because I'm no longer in the situation where it was like absolutely necessary. So it caused me to reflect and be like, oh, I still need to be good about doing these types of things. So let's get into these points and I'll explain hopefully a little bit better. The first one is that it is good to slow down in life. It's great to have nothing on the schedule, to have nothing to do. I know some people will just have a personality where they want to have all the things, they want to go and be involved in everything. I think a lot of people don't have that personality, but it's so ingrained in our culture to just go and do things all the time. And until you're intentionally trying to take a step back or forced to take a step back and realize like it's so nice to just slow down and not to have to worry about so many things. And I already try to be intentional about not having our schedule super busy and having a billion things to do. I don't want to be running here and there. I want home cooked meals. I want us sitting around the dinner table together. There's things that I value that I don't want to give up. And so I try really hard, but having ankle surgery and not being like, I was non-weight bearing for 4 weeks. And for the first whole week, I wasn't really supposed to do anything except lay on the couch. Okay, and so I tried to make sure we just really didn't have plans. That first week especially, there was nothing really going on. And it's kind of nice to just sit and relax and not have your brain constantly being like, okay, I have to do this. I have to make sure I get this stuff done in this window of time so we can go to the next thing, and just be calm, and read a book, cuddle with your kids on the couch, do just little things that maybe you don't spend that much time doing because you're always on the go. Something that I am at fault at for this is that even though I don't fill my schedule with tons of things, I do like to be productive. And so I'm always, okay, what can I be doing now? How can I fill this time now? And I'm still not always super great at making intentional time for my kids and my husband, right? So I think it sneaks into all aspects of our life, regardless of our personality, regardless of our situation. And so it's important for us to remember to be intentional about that time that we have. And what is the most important? Figure out our priorities and make sure our life revolves around those priorities, and don't let life come in and create priorities for you. The second thing is that it's good to receive help, whether this is from family, friends, neighbors. It's good to receive help. I'm a very independent person, and generally I don't need that much help. Again, my schedule's not overbearing, and we generally don't have too many things going on. There was last year, my husband and oldest son went to China for 2 weeks, and I did need some help then, and people were so willing to help, and I was grateful for it. But it's hard for, I think, a lot of people to ask for help or to even receive it. They just don't want to. Sometimes it's better if you're trying to give help to someone just to say, I'm gonna bring you dinner, what day is best? don't give them an out, right? Because I feel like when you give people an out, they usually find a reason why and they talk themselves out of needing help, even though in your mind you're like, well, yeah, I could use a lot of help right now with all these things. But it's really good to receive help. After ankle surgery, I had, tons of help from my immediate family that lives in the same home as me, from my husband, from my kids. I also received some help from my mom because my husband and 2 of my kids went out of town fairly quickly afterwards. So she had come and helped. Lots of neighbors brought in meals and continued to help later on and brought us food and different things. And so it's good to receive help and to let people know. It's so hard to ask for help. Let me just give you another example real quick, because this one is one where I almost said no, and it's a really silly thing, but it was important to me. So my next door neighbor when I was pregnant with my 5th child, he was surprised and I was not excited about being pregnant. And the only thing during that pregnancy that was keeping me from like gagging and just feeling like I wanted to throw up all the time was sucking on just like little icebreaker mints. And so every week when we got groceries, I would always get several of those. And I was getting low and I was like, oh no, I'm gonna have to like ration these till we get groceries again this week. And my neighbor texted me. She's like, do you need anything from the store? And I almost said no. I was like, I really don't. Like, I can survive without mints. Someone else, I can go get them. My husband can pick them up on his way from work. I don't really need them. But instead I said, oh, actually this. And I sent her a picture and she brought them over, and it was so sweet of her to do that. So things like that open us up to more and better experiences as a person, as a human, as a mom, as a homeschooler, as we're willing to receive help, receive advice, receive feedback. We become a better person and we're better able to serve those around us. The third thing is it's good to let your kids help with things around the house. This is very, very hard for me, okay? Very hard for my personality. I have them help a lot with chores. They clean their own spaces. I still have to go in and help like deep clean stuff and things like that every once in a while. Or their bathroom, they take turns cleaning it every week. And so there's times when I have to still go in and make sure things are really clean. But for the most part, they do those things. The kitchen is very hard for me to let them in because I like things a certain way. I work in a very efficient manner, not on purpose. It's just the way my brain works. I can't explain it, it just happens. And so adding another element into the kitchen that's unpredictable is very hard for me. But after I had surgery, I wasn't in the kitchen for a while. But once I started being in the kitchen again, I'm on a knee scooter and my range of motion is hard, and I didn't have the endurance to be in there for very long. My knee would start to hurt and I would get tired. I'd be so sweaty just from the exertion of doing that. I was hardly doing anything, but it was a lot. Okay, and my ankle would be throbbing. There was just different things that I was not able to be in the kitchen. So my kids helped way more than I usually let them, just because I couldn't do it. I could have tried to push through and probably survived, been miserable, but it was really good to let them help. Like, oh yes, can you make this sauce? Here's the recipe for it. Can you come finish this dough or whatever? Here's the rest of the recipe. Whatever it was, I was like, here, can you do this? And it wasn't a ton, but it helped me. I was thinking about this recently because I think I had someone that asked for help, and I have my almost 10-year-old likes to ask too, can I help with dinner? Like, what can I do? And I'm always like, this is like my time to kind of decompress from all the kids from the day. I just don't want anybody in here. I just want to like be able to get dinner done and stuff. And I know they need to learn these things, and they do learn a lot, but like outside of helping with dinner, but it's just like, it's hard for me. I just have a hard time being like, yeah, come help. And so I was thinking about this because I wouldn't let them help. And there's been several times recently where I've said no, where I'm like, okay, how can I allow them to help? I need to be better about that, letting them come in and do things and set up a way that I'm okay with it. Okay, so it's like, oh, do I need to allow more time? Okay, if you want to help, we need to start this at 4 o'clock instead of me starting it at like 4:45 to make sure there's enough time because you're a little bit slower. I would not tell them that. Maybe I would, I don't know. But you know, it takes them a little bit more time to do it than someone that is way more experienced in the kitchen. So things like that. It's important to let your kids help with things around the house, you know, to a reasonable extent, and whatever is reasonable for you, your family, your personality, and just to give them those experiences. It's really good for them. The fourth thing that really stuck out to me during this whole process is that recovery is hard and it takes a really long time, and you have to be consistent and committed to it. I'm still working on it. Okay, my ankle is getting much better, but there's still ranges of motion that are a struggle for me. And I've had knee problems for several years, probably as a result of ankle problems when I was younger. But the opposite knee has had patellar tracking issues for a number of years. So I went to physical therapy for that after my ankle physical therapy was done. And when I first started walking after I got off of crutches and out of a boot and was just mostly in a brace with a normal shoe, it was so hard. Okay, we live mostly on hills because we live up on the bench on the mountain, and we have a loop. And so I'd walk the loop, and it was pretty small, it's a small loop, but it goes up a hill and then comes down the hill. And that was all I could do, and that was really hard. And then I started walking just a road right below ours that's straight for a really long ways, and it took me weeks to get very good at that. And then I started walking further and going up and down hills, and it took so long, and it took a lot of consistency and hard work. And I think so many times in life, as a mom, as a homeschooler, as a parent, as a human, we forget that things are going to be hard. That's where we learn. I learned so much through the whole experience of recovery that I wish I could share it with you. It's all very spiritual to me, but I learned so much through the whole thing, and it applies so much to just our normal everyday life. If we want to be successful and happy and be a good person, we have to be consistent at doing those things that allow us to be a good person. Whether it's, our worship of our Savior Jesus Christ, whether it's doing service for others, saying kind words, all those things apply. Okay, it was hard for me to go. I was uncomfortable every single day for a really long time, and it still is sometimes a little uncomfortable now to start walking, but it gets better. And I wanted to give up so many times, and I think that happens in so many aspects of our life. But the key is to keep going. Sometimes, yes, you are pushing yourself too hard and you need to rein it back in, but you don't stop. You still do what you can do to your ability, and then you keep going. And so much progress is made, so much growth. You will find that you are so much stronger than you think you are, mentally, physically, and it's just a wonderful feeling. So keep pushing through. It's gonna be hard. Life is hard. Homeschooling's hard. Being a mom is very, very hard. It is the hardest thing I've ever done. But as we're consistent, as we keep trying, we will see success, and we will become a stronger person because of it. All right, so those are 4 of the lessons I learned from my ankle surgery. I hope you enjoyed this video. There's lots of things that we can learn just from our situations if we take a moment to step back and to look at them and observe them maybe from a different perspective. And so if you enjoy these types of videos, please remember to give me a thumbs up, and I will see you next time.